1974, one of the most nightmarish, brutally disturbing horror stories ever told, hit screens everywhere, shocking audiences, and solidifying itself as a staple within the genre. It balances an eerie calmness that really immerses its viewers in the hot Texas sun, mixed with fast-paced, mind-numbing sequences that'll make your heart race and your palms sweat. The infamous chainsaw dance from Tobe Hooper's 1974 genre-altering horror staple, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, easily makes for one of the most iconic scenes and iconic endings to any horror movie of all time. It's an eerie, chaotic temper tantrum. She got away, and he's pissed, and probably scared at what Drayton will do to him once he realizes that not only is the hitchhiker dead, but Alice got away. So, as I've been editing this video, I realized that the entire time I was talking about this, I was referring to Sally Hardesty as Alice. I guess my brain was in Friday the 13th Part 1 and 2 mode, so I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but horror fans, please forgive me on that one. I don't know where my brain was, but I know Sally Hardesty is the main character in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I for whatever reason, I was saying Alice. I don't know. So, anyways. In that moment, this is his only way of really expressing his emotions and what he's feeling. He's scared, he's angry, he's, upset. I mean, there's so many different things that are happening in that moment. And if you really pay close attention to Gunnar Hansen in that scene, you can hear it. You can hear him grunting and screaming. And there's a lot going on in that character's head in that particular moment. Not to mention the fact that Leatherface throwing a chainsaw around in the hot Texas sun is one of the coolest shots in a movie of all time. From the point that Alice escapes the infamous table scene, to the point that Leatherface and the hitchhiker reach her at the road, to the big finale as she finally escapes on the back of the truck, Gunnar Hansen did such a great job at expressing so many different emotions. He's frantic, he's angry, he's determined, he's frightened, he's feeling so many different things in that moment. And we know that Leatherface is not all there. We know that he's got a really, really, really complex relationship with his family, and the fact that we don't really know a whole lot about the Sawyers and their dynamic and kind of how they got to this point and things like that. Things are alluded to. We kind of see glimpses of it, but you kind of get the sense that he's not treated very well either. He's kind of the outcast, weird one of the family as well. So you could only imagine the types of things that are going through his head in that particular moment. I've always felt that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was one large crescendo. The movie's effectiveness comes from the fact that it builds tension and builds tension and builds tension and builds tension, but it never fully resolves it. We build to this insanely deep emotional climax, which is Alice finally escaping in the back of the truck as he's throwing the chainsaw around, as he's screaming, and then as we finally get the money shot, she's escaping. She doesn't even know what to feel at this point. She's screaming, she's crying, she's laughing, like she's just having a complete emotional mental breakdown in this moment. And we see Leatherface having his deep emotional kind of temper tantrum moment, and then it just stops. Credits roll. That's it. We don't resolve that moment. As an audience member, you don't get to see her process. It just stops. That's it. You're left on this weird emotional high and you don't get to come off of it. And that is such an effective tool on Tobe Hooper's part. I mean, you walk out of this film feeling like, well, I need to sit down. like, whoa, it's a really, really big emotional climax. We're experiencing that moment through Alice, who is experiencing every emotion known to man. She's crying, she's laughing, she's feeling this sheer relief that she has lived through this experience. She's upset that her friends are gone. I mean, there's a lot going on there, and Marilyn Burns did a really, really spectacular job, and we know that, the production of this film was hell on earth, and, she was partially crying and laughing and feeling this emotional breakdown just from the difficulty of filming the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was a horrible shoot, if you know anything about the making of this film. It was a really, really treacherous, disgusting couple of weeks for this crew. It's just crazy as hell, and that's the genius of it. This movie is so hardcore, and the gritty atmosphere, the tense storytelling, the really hot, wet, sticky aesthetic of it, it just makes it one of the most iconic horror films ever made.